Okay, sure. My name is Shireen Mitchell. Oh, let's still look at you? Okay. You know what? I should have asked you that beforehand. I apologize. Diversity is not a trend. These are people's lives. My name is Shireen Mitchell. I founded the first organization in Washington, D.C., actually in the nation, focused on women and girls of color in 1999, called Digital Sistas. And I have been working on trying to get more young women, also women in general, who happen to be of color, into tech. I would say the bias is actually built on the fact that the tech industry has built this model that the best of those in the tech industry are some 20-somethings who've dropped out of college, who happens to be a white male with khakis and a t-shirt. And so when a young girl who looks like me, who may have been born in the projects, which is where I was born, in New York City, would not be the model that would be successful in the tech industry. That, of course, is completely incorrect, but is a bias that has been a part of the culture in the tech industry for quite some time. The truth is, despite, in some instances, open data around those who apply versus those that get hired, there is a higher number of people who happen to be women of color, and happen to be people of color that actually apply. But who gets hired is nowhere near that number. And one of the challenges is, when you look at that data, you can see more than 50% white men, but the data for anyone of color, or from an ethnic group, is somewhere down near a small number between 2, 3, or percent. And that's such a wide gap. But the other difficulty, though, is that we separate the data right now to show women in tech and then race in tech. We do not show the numbers in between. So I honestly believe we don't actually know what our real numbers are for women of color in the tech industry, because they're not doing an overlap of that data. There's a woman called Catherine Finney who basically did a report on VC investors and into black women as startups, tech startups. 0. So they're funding some women, but they're not funding specific women. We haven't gotten into the intersectionality pieces of it. So that's the problem. I think that ultimately we want to do like an umbrella fix to things, and we know now that doesn't work. You only solve part of the problem. The real nitty-gritty parts that need, that's like in the background sometimes, are the pieces that still get missed because we haven't even address them. So that's why I try to highlight specifically what happens to women and girls of color. Asian women are expected to be more feminine, but African American women are not. Until we start talking about what those expectations are, what people think that they should experience when that person walks in the door, no matter what they look like, then we will never ever get to the bottom of this problem. So tech companies need to do a couple of things. The first thing is, they have to hire more people and women of color, particularly women of color. The reason is that if you are happening to be a woman of color, you see angles that other people do not. You see the race angles, you see the gender angles. So that's the first step. And that person should not be just someone who's in the diversity component of the organization, because everybody thinks once you hire someone in diversity, the problem will be fixed and that person will be the savior, and that's never the case. Unfortunately, for example, Apple's board voted against ensuring that there were senior management people who were more diverse. If the leaders of the organization doesn't take the lead, then we won't get anywhere. You need to make sure that when people come to the table and you're giving their suggestions and their policy ideas and ways in which to make the company better, that those things are taken seriously. So they understand that diversity is not a trend. These are people's lives. I'm now working on stopping on violence against women, because we have moved into a phase where there are a lot of women and girls who are not going to enter into tech because they are afraid of the backlash. I think most of the reason is just people are uncomfortable with different cultures and perspectives, but that's the blessing of the beauty of who we are as humans. We bring so many different perspectives to the table. People think that like the technology can fix everything, like that we could just tweak the technology a little bit, it'll start to solve the problem. But the reality is we have to tweak us. We have to tweak the internet is us. So it amazes me that they think they can shut someone else up when they know for a fact that they would never accept that. And I think that these tactics of intimidation, these tactics of threat, these tactics of threats of violence is focused on trying to tell women, especially women, to, you don't have a right to speak up. Whatever's happening to you, you should just take it and deal with it. It's just it's just what you should expect in your life. And that's not true, and that's not acceptable, and that needs to be changed. It takes to get the center, actually. Okay.